Hey, this is Tyler Sweat, Accessible Media Specialist at the Iowa Department for the Blind. And today I'm going to be going over my top 3 accessibility features on Google Docs to make your documents more accessible right now. First up is headings. Now, headings is a way to easily navigate around a page, especially if you're using a screen reader or any other accessible technology. So when we think about headings, heading 1 is usually a page or title of the main content. There's only one of these usually, and it's the most important. And then from there we go from heading 2, which is the major section heading, and then 3, which is the subsection of heading 2. Heading 4 is usually the subsection of heading 3, and so on and so on. Now to access this in Google Docs, I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. To change headings, or to kind of take a look at what the headings are already on your document, you're going to click on the line that you want to change, and you're going to go up here to the editing bar. And if you notice here, it says normal text. So that's under styles. So if I left click on that, it's going to come up with all of these options for what this is. So we have title, subtitle, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. And that's how you're going to change it. So for example, the product brochure is listed as the title. So for here, title, boom, applied. You can just click on it and apply it. If we go down here to September, that's going to be your subtitle, and then product overview is our heading 1. So from here, this is going to kind of describe the main feature of what's on this document, and then anything under that. We have our heading 2, which goes into depth of that, and then the subsection heading 3, which is on there. So for some reason, if you felt this was more of a heading 2, then you could just go up here, click it, and it's even going to change the style that exists with that. Now under here, when you go to options, you can change all of the default styles to fit your needs, so it doesn't have to look, it doesn't have to turn pink. That's just the way that this document is set up. But when it is a heading 3, it does do that. But the big thing to realize is just because a text is bigger and bolded doesn't necessarily mean that it's a heading. It could just be a normal text that somebody changed. That's why it's really important to go through and to make sure that all of your headings are the way you want them, because it'll just make it that much easier for your student to utilize and to be able to navigate quickly through larger documents. Okay, so next up is alt text. Now what that is that when a screen reader comes across a picture or an image of a graph or something, the alt text is what's going to describe what it is. If a screen reader comes over a picture and it doesn't have any alt text, it's just going to say picture. So that's why this really gives a lot. If it's giving information to the student, it'll give them a lot about what's going on and sort of give them context around the picture that's associated with that document. So the big things with alt text, they need to be accurate, brief, not redundant. When a screen reader reads it, the student knows exactly what it's talking about without having to figure it out on their own. It also does not need, when you're labeling it, it doesn't need to be image of or graphic of, because that just adds extra words that are unnecessary when a screen reader reads over that. The alt text should only support the content and not to decorate the page. So for alt text, it's pretty easy to get to it. On any picture, you're just going to right-click or Control-Alt-Y. But when you right-click, you're going to go down to the bottom here, alt text. This is going to bring up the title and the description. So it's really important that you have these things labeled correctly, because this is what the screen reader will be reading. So for example, if the title was just the name of the picture and it was a bunch of numbers.jpg, that's what the screen reader is going to read as the title of this picture. So that's why it's really important that you have it be something that if the student goes over that picture, they know exactly what it is and what it's going to add to the document for them. So for example, like I had before, new phone, and then the description, pink front and black back of new phone. So you can put a couple other things in here, but more than likely, as long as you're short and sweet and it says exactly what the picture is, it's more than enough for alt text. And the last feature we're going to go over is hyperlinks. So when we're hyperlinking something, we need to use descriptive link text, which means the text that you're selecting to attach to that link needs to not rely on the content from the surrounding text. It should be very obvious on what you're clicking on when you click on the hyperlink. Avoid using the actual link within the text. It just makes it very confusing and a lot of extra letters for screen readers. And avoid things like click here, because that doesn't give any information to the user on what that link is or where it is going. So when we're adding hyperlinks in, it's important to avoid things like click here. When a screen reader goes over this, if they're searching by, the student's searching by links, it's not going to know where this is going to take them. So if you're searching specifically for a link to get more information about a topic, you have no idea what this says. So that's why it's important that you're using text that doesn't need the other text around it to let the student know where it's going. So for example, on this document, I'm going to type in new phone features. And then I'm going to select all the text that I want in the hyperlink. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go down to link. Control K will also work. It'll then bring up this. It'll still have the text that you're highlighted. And then it'll have a place for you to type in a link. It also sometimes recommends stuff. I'm just going to do that for now. And then it'll go blue showing that that is a hyperlink. When the screen reader gets over this, it's going to say new phone features and then it's going to say that it's a link. It's going to say that it's clickable. So that's why it's important that when I get to this, if I'm just navigating with the screen reader from link to link, I know what this one is without me having to use any other context around it, which is what you want from links. Again, this has been Tyler Sweat, Accessible Media Specialist at the Iowa Department for the Blind. Hope you gained a lot of knowledge on how to make your Google Docs slightly more accessible for your students. Thanks for watching.